It's what you're doing, making me feel like I'm falling.
Hi! I am very excited. This is weird. Because I am going to be finishing your childhood art kits. On my channel, I have a series where I finish my childhood art kits, and I finished them all. I was very sad about that. But in my P.O. box unboxing, some of you sent childhood art kits that you never finished. And I said, wow, that is an amazing idea for a series. And after I said that, I got several more childhood art kits from you guys. And now we have enough for a series. You guys have never finished an art kit in your lives. But today is the day that we rectify that. Today, we will all finish the childhood art kits. Let's get started. Okay, up first we have this mysterious package that says, "Do not bend." Aggressive, but I'm interested. Inside the blue package was a white package. Inside the white package was very old Shrinky Dinks. I can see why it said "Do not bend." I can't say for sure, but the packaging seems like this is actually from the 1970s. Vintage. Honestly, testing vintage art kits would be a good art series. Maybe I'll do that too. As you can see, I really enjoyed all of the vintage drawings on the back. This handsome young man being my favorite, obviously. Growing up, I certainly used Shrinky Dinks quite a bit, so I thought I knew what to expect. But when I opened this and saw a funhouse mirror, I quickly realized that this was something totally different. Kind of. It's not so different, but the pages for the Shrinky Dink are clear, like totally see-through and shiny on both sides. Typically, the Shrinky Dinks that I used growing up had a side that was rougher and you could use with colored pencils. This one did not work with anything other than permanent markers. It actually said that in the directions, I just missed it at first. I do have Sharpies that have a bunch of different colors, but I'm currently between different locations and they were not with me. But I did have my blue and black Sharpies. Since this material seemed to be about 50 years old by my approximation, I did want to do a test case. First thing I realized was it was really hard to cut this without it cracking. I also wanted to test if this would shrink in the same way we expect modern Shrinky Dinks to shrink. Into the toaster oven we go, and this did not disappoint. It turns out kids in the 1970s also got to look inside their oven and say, wow, look at this thing shrinking. Aside from the obvious crack in its neck, the only other problem with this was that I used such a dark Sharpie. So I went to the store and bought myself some ink permanent markers. They came in a bunch of different rainbow neon colors, which are my favorite. Let's try this again. I thought that our blue cat needed some redemption, so I decided to redraw it in a lighter blue color. These Sharpies do dry a darker color than I was anticipating, but I feel like this is an improvement from the cat with the severed head, so. I also tried to draw a small cat loaf. You know, when cats sit with their legs underneath their body and they look like a loaf. I wish I left it like this, but I was really second guessing myself in the moment and I felt like, you know what, this doesn't look like a cat loaf at all. It needs some legs. I added the legs and then I looked at it for a while, outlined it in black, outlined our blue cat in black, and then I went back and said, maybe this is a baby lamb? I don't know, I feel like she could have been a cat, but the tail makes it a lamb. It's all very confusing, but we're going to shrink these in the Shrinky Dink oven. Just kidding, that's a toaster oven. I like them, but honestly, it's really hard to color evenly with permanent marker. Because I wasn't satisfied with these two, I decided to draw one more thing with the Shrinky Dinks. My biggest complaint is actually that both sides of the paper are glossy. The glossiness makes it so that you can only use a permanent marker to color on this. And I don't really like using permanent markers to color things. I feel like they're not really meant for that. Permanent markers tend to be very streaky, they don't blend, and it just doesn't create a product that I like. As you can see, I decided to draw two lovebirds. On the left, we have a somewhat irritated bird, and on the right, we have one that is squawking. Because I felt like the one on the left looked a little bit too angry for lovebirds, I decided to remove the angry eyebrow and just give it no eyebrow whatsoever. So now we have two lovebirds. The one on the left is very calm, and the one on the right is squawking very loudly. We did have some issues when I tried to shrink it. It kind of shrunk up on itself. I had to maneuver things, and I didn't quite get it to be as flat. I thought this was so interesting. I know that these Shrinky Dinks did not come out as good as it might have come out if I used a modern pack of Shrinky Dink paper, but I think it was really fun and cool to learn how other people in the past used to use Shrinky Dinks. Up next, we have a sand art kit, Dinosaur Scenes. This is a little different than what you're thinking. It actually is a peel and stick kind of thing, where you peel it off, there's stickers, and then you... Oh, this sand dumped everywhere. It was kind of a mess. As I was saying, these are scenes that have stickers, you peel them off and pour the sand that they give you on top of it. This art kit looks like it's from the 90s based on the packaging. I had a lot of art kits in the early 2000s. I was born in 94, but I mean, by the time I was like 6 or 7, you know, when you're actually using art kits, it's the early 2000s for me. This, I never used or saw anything like this. I'm not saying it didn't exist, but I never used it. So my guess is that this is an early 90s art kit. I think this is actually a lot of fun. It is a little bit messy, so you do need some kind of box or place to put the sand so you're not like getting sand everywhere. It's kind of like an equivalent of glitter. Glitter was my mother's natural enemy because apparently I was obsessed with it and got it everywhere. Sand could also be a mother's natural enemy, so I would say put it in a box or on something that you can easily get rid of. I only mention that because I feel like sometimes we do have some clean perfectionists out there. I personally am not one of those people. I've went over this. I'm vaguely a messy person. By my standards, I think I'm fine, but some people think I'm messy. And I like to clean up afterwards, but I really try to embrace the mess of art while I'm doing it. So I didn't mind this at all. I actually had a lot of fun. The only thing I could see the potential for people feeling a little upset by this art kit is it's kind of hard to be precise when you're pouring the sand. You can see I tried to get fancy here and like do different lines and things, but it really is very hard to be very specific with it. It's more of an abstract art form, and it's more about just like having fun and pouring sand rather than creating like this crazy masterpiece, if you know what I mean. A miracle occurred. I poured the sand and an eyebrow appeared. He's so cute. I love him. And here's what the final thing turned out looking like. I love this one. Maybe I'm just being biased, but look at his face. He's so cute. I do also enjoy the way the T-Rex scene turned out. I was trying to make it look like the asteroids were hitting or whatever the heck happened to the dinosaurs. I don't know. I wasn't a dinosaur kid. I don't know. If you are interested in getting a peel and stick sand art kit, apparently it is a thing right now. You can definitely buy those. Okay, let's move on to the next art kit. Let's open up this mysterious packaging. The first thing is actually not an art kit. It's a squishy pen, which is really cool. Thank you for sending this. I love it. The other thing is a Sketching Made Easy art kit. It looks like Teresa has already started this by drawing a seahorse. This art kit comes with 6 different pencils that have different values, so they go from dark to light. The purpose of this art kit is really to have you do some drawing exercises using pencils that have very dark values and very light values. I believe the art kit referred to the pencils that have a darker value as having a thicker lead, and the pencils that have a softer lead are the softer colors. I don't know if you can tell by the way I'm talking about this, but I don't really do this at all. I don't even own pencils that have dark and light values, so this is something that is definitely new for me and a challenge. But I was up for the challenge. I saw that seahorse and I said, you know what? I am going to sketch this as best as I possibly can, and I wanted it to look like a realistic sketch of a seahorse. Once I got the initial sketching for the seahorse down, I tried to move to the leaves or seaweed and coral that you have drawn down here. I should have stopped there, but I decided, you know what, maybe we need some stuff in the background. I want it to look like this seahorse is really in water. And I honestly should have stopped after the bubbles, but I went too far. I got carried away, and I started adding some water to the background. In the end, I went off camera and erased some of the background, and this is what we ended up with. I think it looks like fine, but I feel like it would have been better if I just did not add the water in the background, but oh well. If you want to see more videos like this, I do have a whole playlist on finishing my childhood art kits. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week for another video. Bye!